Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Mayorkas, you told Senator Graham that you've released somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 illegal aliens. You told me you don't know how many of those had COVID. You told me further you don't know how many of those were sexually assaulted by the human traffickers who brought them in. When you were talking with Chairman Durbin, you talked about catch and release. And Chairman Durbin asked you whether illegal immigrants who are released under catch and release and given a court date in the future, whether they show up. And you responded, quote, "The great majority do, Mr. Chairman." Secretary Mayorkas, I believe that testimony is false. It is contrary to virtually every public reporting on the matter. For example, I'm looking at a July 27, 2021 story in Axios that describes just 13% of migrants had shown up after catch and release. You know you're under oath and subject to the penalty of perjury. Do you stand by your testimony to this committee that the great majority of illegal aliens released under catch and release show up voluntarily at court proceedings?
Can I give you the data that I have at my disposal,
Sure.
Senator? The percentage of non-citizens who have checked in, who have been compliant with the alternatives to detention, or are within their reporting time frame.
That's not the question. How many show up at the court hearing?
65%.
You're giving stats that aren't answering the question. How many show up at the court hearing? The stat that from Axios showed 13%. You're claiming 13% is the great majority.
Well, I'm pulling from the data that I have, Senator, and I will verify the accuracy of the data after my testimony today and report back to you. Because
so if your testimony that the great majority show up for hearing is wrong and false testimony, you will correct it in writing. Let me ask you subsequently.
Let me.
You won't correct it in writing?
No, I most certainly will, but I need to say something, Senator. And that is that I take my oath.
Fine, you take your oath seriously. My time is limited on that. Let me ask you another question. It's been reported the Biden administration is considering paying illegal immigrants whose families were separated $450,000 apiece. That would mean for a family of four, they would get $1.8 million.
That's not my understanding.
What is your understanding?
My understanding, and it's drawn from news reports because this is not something that the Department of Homeland Security...
You're the defendant in the lawsuits.
Is that it is that amount of money per family, but I may be mistaken.
That is not what has been publicly reported. It is per person. Do you think it is a good idea to pay illegal immigrants 4.5 times what we pay the family of a service member who's killed in combat? And if we pay millions of dollars to illegal immigrants, in your professional judgment, will we get more illegal immigration or less illegal immigration?
Senator, let me say this, that I do not think a mother would travel to the United States in the hands of traffickers so that she can be separated from her 7-year-old daughter for a period of time, the duration of which she has...
Can you answer the question? Those were two yes and no questions.
I do not think that it would be a pull factor.
I said, is it a good idea to pay them the money, and would you get more illegal immigration or less illegal immigration if you give millions of dollars to illegal immigrants?
I cannot...
More or less?
I cannot speak to the advisability of settling the Federal Tort Claims Act in which I am not involved.
But you have no view on whether paying illegal immigrants millions of dollars creates more illegal immigration?
Thank you, Senator Cruz.
Well, can he answer the question?
You asked that question 2 or 3 times.
And he's refused to answer it 2 or 3 times.
And your time has expired. You've gone longer than any other.
So the Secretary of DHS has no idea whether paying illegal immigrants millions of dollars produces more illegal immigration.
It has nothing to do with the substance of the question, but the fact...
Are you going to give him an opportunity to
Once
answer
again, you've gone longer than any other senator. Senator Padilla?